So I'm hoping Wisla brings that same level of fire. Bit of a different roster than from what I'm used to, but you know, they got a strong rifling core between Jedcar as well as Goofy. Those lads are pretty solid across the board, and they always bring good structure. Initial little bit of utility out of Squeaky Door, while the rest of these pistolers all fighting long and getting a lot of gooshes off. Gonna start to charge into Secret now.
Yeah, lots of that damage coming out from the Glocks already with a bit of the lower tunnel control. Goofy's going to be able to finalize the frag on towards Antares, and Wisla are going to be looking for an early little plant. X-Cloud from above. Good for the one onto Goofy, looking for another one, and will be presented for it. Damage has been delivered in that regard. Now, this bomb is looking to be planted.
Yeah, gonna give it a crack. It's just dropped in no man's land right now. There's no cover, no utility to provide some safety for Wisla to try to cross the distance in this lowest bomb site. And Spiro's lost his life in the meanwhile, so it's just Marcos, 1-on-3, trying to see if he can find one of the CTs, trying to creep through Ven and get a cheeky little angle, but now, unfortunately, he's been smoked off and he's going to have to reroute somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe an avenue to find a battle against Woxic. It'll be an extra kill, some more money. If you can try and navigate a plant, that will be some extra money, but you know, in a situation like this, Eternal Fire are not going to be presenting Marcos with any real jewel at the moment. Well, still waiting for the smoke to fade away as it happens. Bit of elevation from Woxic and more close in the line of sight as well. The feet of Marcos will be seen from Woxic. The shot's starting to come on out, and that's immediately the damage that's already delivered. Eternal Fire will be picking up the first pistol here.
Nicely done. Good little 2K in there from a couple of members, and they're able to hold strong, get their economy off to the right start here on CT side. Nuke, as for Wisla, without a bomb plant, they have got to decide if they do want to force. And look, I love this. This is what I was kind of expecting with the Deagle changes, although we've seen still a lot of teams going for that Deagle split pick buy with the scouts and trying to utilize the individual skill, finding those headshots and finding good angles to win rounds like this. This is what I expected more so. Tech9 buys quicker, executes where, you know, that you're just trying to set the tempo, set the pace very, very quickly. Initial molly on towards top of hut. Wisla just trying to unsettle some of these CT defenders before they try to charge out Squeaky.
Not anymore. He's going to tuck himself next to the vent as well, but with all these smokes around, there is no vision for pretty much anybody. Goofy going to start off the affairs by finding one, make it a double. Now things do get a little bit more hectic. Player advantage over to the side of Wisla. They don't necessarily need to continue on with the haste that we're seeing at the moment. X-Cloud is going to take out PHR. Jacob falls as well, and now there's a little bit of recovery coming through for Eternal Fire.
Yeah. See if they can pick up the pieces here. Still got 3 high HP members. A1Ss on some of these longer angles can still get this one done. Bomb's dropped in lower, and Goofy's going to try and go and recover that. At least he has the duel with the FAMAS on the cards, which could be somewhat easier. Marcos still looking around. He's picked himself up a FAMAS, and he's actually just going to join his teammate in lower. Or at least that's what he thought. Sick, unfortunately. Had that line locked down, and Goofy, he was kind of biding time to join up and try to get that bomb secured. So now he's just in a bit of a pickle. Not sure if those windows are even broken for him.
They're not going to be broken, unfortunately, so he has to almost just charge through. No one going to be on the site itself while he sees the bomb. Sound cue from the broken glass. I think on towards X-Cloud, so you're talking about the duel against the FAMAS. He was trying to work it out, but Calyx is going to shut that one down, and it's 3 rifles going over for Eternal Fire.
Well done. Going to be able to at least keep their money somewhat solid moving through this game. As for Wisla, though, you know, this is where they go into an eco round, see if they can try to take some guns off the other team before they go into that first gun round. Wisla, I mean, of all the seasons that I've watched, you know, under the coaching of Lord, that's a... I almost feel like some kind of old school montage where you're like doing the flashes of something in the background. Light effects.
Well, just the Glocks, as you do mention. So, some Deagles, rather. So we'll see if the damage can be delivered. Just the progression utility to come down for Eternal Fire. Name of the game's damage right now from Wisla. If they can keep the money of Eternal Fire relatively honest moving forward from here. Might look toward a reset in the CT economy down the track. We know a couple of teams so far have been plagued with that over the course of the conference.
Well, Wisla waiting for one of these CTs to potentially aggress too far in outside, and then you get this little net set up where you can get the player peeking from silo as well as that player at T-Red there swinging together. But Xantar is not feeling the need to go for a bit of an eco bash. Calyx in the meanwhile is going to get himself a nice pick. But PHR, that's a pretty nice shot from him. Haven't seen PHR on a Polish roster in a while that I've had the pleasure of casting their games, so good to see him back once again. I remember him on the AGO squad quite a while back. Oh, God. Is this one of these games for Woxic?
Yeah, potentially well could be. A little bit angry, maybe disappointed with the performances that we saw from the other game. They just couldn't get it over the line in the first opening one. But Woxic will pick up a pretty neat 4K on the back of that one. But finally, Pilski, we get the full rifles coming in for Wisla.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Woxic is going to be picking himself up an AWP here and just continuing to roll with the momentum that he's setting. And look, these are the kind of performances that you see out of the individuals on Eternal Fire. The only problem I have with their squad is you just don't see it all the time. They're a very streaky team. Sometimes they look nigh unbeatable, and then, you know, look, just go back, watch that endpoint game, you'll know what I mean. Double aggression into outside here for the CTs, but no, they're playing more towards the Annex side, trying to spam Spiro through this secret wall of smoke. He goes down to, you know, 18 HP, but he's still been able to get himself into secret and get a little bit of map control. And Eternal Fire, I mean, the whole point of those outside smokes is the info denial. Force that rotation out, and that's where you see xFloud probing down in towards secret. So Wisla spreading the defense a little thinner and trying to open up some opportunities, perhaps.
More tags down quite low as well. He's going to have to reroute how he's going to play for the remainder of this round, but it is just that slow assault to come through from Wisla. Spiro is on an island out through the tunnels. Dare say he won't be able to get down toward there as well with xFloud just waiting. So a minute mark on the clock. Wisla are starting to group up and they'll decide if they want to go for what looks like an upper A hit.
Yeah, still plenty of util. Running out of smokes, but you don't really need a whole lot in these uppers hits. Just want to smoke off Annex for the most part and get some good flashes and Molotov coverage. Really nicely timed Molotov from Emor. That forces down the bomb. This is going to allow for some rotations to come out and buy a little bit of time as well.
Oh, I wonder if the bomb actually dropped down the vent. It looks like it got close to it, but maybe just in front of it for here. Well, nice timing on the Molotov, and now they are starting to burn to get in front of it. Such big damage to come out. It's just down to Marcos to see if he can salvage something from this dire situation. A 1 versus 4. Up the vent. Can't even quite navigate the frag onto xFloud, and that is going to be Eternal Fire, shutting down the first gun round of Wisla.
Yep. Just the domino effect of losing that entry player with the bomb to Molotov. Sometimes those pieces of utility or well-timed pushes can just disrupt your plans to the point where you can't really recover from it. So really nicely done from Emor. Now another half buy coming out here for Wisla, who are starting to build up that loss bonus.
T-side start for them and their own map pick as well. So you definitely want to see the numbers starting to be gathered relatively soon. The next gun round would be in priority for them to try to gather. And if they can gather this one, that will be even better placed for them. AWP from Woxic still hasn't really felt too much in toward the map just yet. Didn't really get to play with it in the last. Meanwhile, PHR has managed to get down the vent here.
Always helps out. Wisla going to keep things simple. Try to join up with him by going through the ramp room. Woxic's got that locked down. xFloud's helping him out, but they weren't expecting PHR. I would love to see the replay of that flick from Woxic when he gets shot in the back by the Tech 9. And it's a complete cleanup. There was an opportunity there if Woxic maybe goes down, a bit more pressure on xFloud, but all the shots required hit. The test well and truly passed by Eternal Fire, and they have a very strong economy on this CT side. It's going to take some concerted effort for Wisla to get back in this game. Couple of gun rounds in a row. It's going to be a bit of a grind, but that's where that T-side loss bonus definitely helps you out.
Yeah, all the util and the guns now for Wisla to have another crack at the defenses that Eternal Fire have been putting up have been pretty impenetrable for the most part. But again, it's going to be another player for Wisla getting down the vent nice and early, not sacrificing too much HP. Maybe an overextension from Calyx. He's got his first casualty.
Well, first time Wisla have been given that man advantage on this gun round, so we'll see how they convert. This is what dreams are made of when you're setting up your T side. Get that first pick. You really just want these high percentage strategies to be able to close the 5v4. And they've got good positioning as well. Jedka's down there in the vents. They're going to do this wall of smoke across the outside and try to join up with him through secret side. So very well constructed round for Wisla. And I'm kind of wondering how Eternal Fire are going to make something happen here. Teamor's trying to stand through this wall of smoke. In the meanwhile, there is a lobby aggression as well that Spiro will have to keep in check.
Yeah, more damage to be attempted to come on out from these rifles, but the sense for Eternal Fire right now is they've got an inkling that Wisla might be down on the lower side. It's going to be cemented by xFlab pushing through the lobby, but Spiro finding that frag throws a little bit of spanner in the works. Seymour going to be pushing on forward to get the trade, but Wisla are already down toward this lower B site.
Oh, not enough coverage though on some of these angles. They're really testing their chances. Jedka is able to get rid of Xantares on one of those sides of Mega though, and Jedka, he also should have definitely had the vents locked down there, but now a double dark setup. This is a pretty rare post plant to be encountering. Let's see if Eternal Fire are going to be ready for it.
And Woxic does have an incendiary. If he places that down toward lower dark, that could be really unfortunate for him. He's going to start to bank this one out as well, and it might be a little bit difficult. It's at the proper spot, burning the sound cue. There's the first one to come out from Woxic. Now it's Marcos with the AWP, the 1 versus 2. There's the first. Here's the drop to come on down, but maybe not. It's Timur to find the frag, and with no kit, there's no time to get the defuse here.
Nicely done by Wisla. It definitely got more dicey than maybe they would have wanted, and that's going to take a toll on their economy. You see a couple of players sitting between 3 and 4K, not going to be able to put together the kind of buy they would have wanted with all the utility and AKs. But at least they get the gun round done. Problem is, like I was mentioning before, Eternal Fire's economy is really sick right now, so they're just going to reinvest. They're going to have a much better buy than the T's have access to. So this is where Wisla, I like the timeout, really considering their options and what kind of strat they want to be going for to try to steal a round away. But not only that, you know, it's the kind of round where you need a strat that's actually going to get you something convincing together, you know, get you 3+ guns alive, because you need to start building some money on this T side. You can't just be scraping by every single time, because the consequence of going down 5-0 and not really doing too much economic damage in some of those eco rounds is just the fact that the CT money is so strong, you need to win 2, 3, 4 gun rounds over time to actually break it.
Yeah, and you look at the problem that Wisla are faced with right now. Yes, they found the last round, but without anyone surviving, they couldn't carry any of these guns over. PHR doesn't even have a helmet behind this AK. There's real bare bones in the utility for them at the moment. Marcos has even had to go down toward a Mac 10. Now, a missed shot from Woxic does present an opportunity for Wisla to try and capitalize upon, but Xantares is here. A nice flash to come out, unfortunately, from Spiro. It's not going to be helping Goofy in that regard, but this aggression in outers for Wisla is somewhat making things interesting.
Nice pick from Jekko on outside, but he's taken out the equation by xFloud. Now these are the weird 2-on-2 situations where everyone's split up around the map. It gives a lot of opportunities to the T side, and the CTs kind of have to go searching and looking for one of the Ts, maybe trying to anticipate where they might push. That's why you see xFloud, he's just tucking himself in a corner, trying to find one of these Ts who's sneaking through outside, assuming that maybe they can get through to ladder base, and is a pretty high percentage position to be closing one of these rounds from, just getting that uppers flank in. PHR and Spiro really running the clock down right now, and they're nowhere near each other, but does seem like the call is to go to lower, which is the right course of action in this regard. Calix will be the next contact on that lower as soon as he makes his way down the vents.
Yeah, they'll be looking for the plant here. A single smoke from Spiro can be positioned for the post. A bit of an open plant toward the double doors, rather. He won't be able to play with it, but Calix and xFloud, they are going to start to make their way down secret silently.
All right, well, doors get closed by Spiro. Trying to play that one way and play the headshot angle in general. Both of these players coming through secret, but he's going to give them a little more space.
Yeah, time certainly is ticking away. Half on the bomb timer already. The kits are here, so for Eternal Fire, it is go time to go for this retake. There are the footsteps. It's going to be Spiro meeting the grave, and now for PHR, he reveals himself, the smoke on through, and he manages to double down to hold on for Wisla. Again, though, Pilski, it's only one player surviving on the Wisla side.
Okay. Well, Wisla going in for another buy here, but again, it's going to be a bit of a scuff one. Eternal Fire, once again, funds perfectly fine. They get the AWP, they get 5 rifles across the board, couple kits, full util. But they're running out of space here. This is what I was saying, Wisla at that 0-5 scoreline, they need a couple gun rounds in a row, and they are scraping them across the line, but they're still putting them together. This would be the big one to win. This would be the big impact where they could start to make this a bit more of a back and forth half. They're just racing straight through outers, jumping straight into Annex, and Xantares, even though he's a little flashed, is still able to find that opener.
Yeah, well, it's already through the tunnels for Wisla at the moment. Straight haste down toward the bomb site. Jedka is one with the bomb at the moment on his back. But this is a real just disconnected split to come through from Wisla. Anybody still at the top of the sites here? Spiro Outers with, I think it was PHR there. Not really able to assist anything that's going on. Jedko's just on an island by himself. Spiro does find him more. Out as well will be getting that trade. Man advantage still on the cards for Eternal Fire. But for Wisla, I mean, these are all pretty much individual duels that they're fighting.
Yep. But down into lowers. These are the kind of rounds where even in a 3-on-4, you can make it work on the T side if you find yourself the right timing. I mean, of course, Marcos playing close Mega needs to be absolutely huge here because Fear is ages away.
Oh, the lineup, 1, 2, 3 for Marcos. That is beautiful. And now Xantares known as well for the 1 versus 3 to come out from the man. And it's looking very plausible. PHR audible in the drop, but with only 18 HP for Xantares, and he was too far away from that vent location as well. He didn't get the sound cue. Almost impossible for him if PHR peeks out at the right time. It's going to come down to the spray, in towards the smoke. The bullets are missing at the moment as Xantares gets close in the end, but again, PHR wins it.
Just another XVX, another close round in the post plant that Wisla are able to secure for themselves. These guys are grinders, and it's exactly what I was saying before, where every iteration of these Wisla rosters, they play no-nonsense Counter-Strike, and even if, you know, it's not some crazy, you know, sharp aim being exhibited by the individuals, they are, you know, operating within a system where they're getting into these scenarios, they're getting into these post plants and giving themselves opportunities to succeed. And even though they're very close rounds, they still get 3 in a row and break that CT economy. Very, very well done from them.
Now again, down the vent for Jedka. Wisla have been able to really push opportunities to get down toward it. And I guess it is presented a little bit easier this time with no utility for Eternal Fire. A ramp tussle, and it's just going to be Calyx to find a double. Now Woxic chimes in for 2 as well. This is a round for Wisla that should not have gone this way. Eternal Fire have 4 alive. They salvage 1 gun. Pilski.
That's the worst way for that to happen, where it's like you're praising Wisla, like, yep, good job, guys. Very, very nice T-side nuke gun rounds. You're setting everything up beautifully. Problem with surviving with 1 player, though, is you didn't build your own money up enough, and sometimes these Turkish players are just brilliant with the mechanics. Multi-kill on the Deeks from 2 of the individuals, and that's the round done and dusted, and Wisla are broke.
In terms of money, they have no money for now. Just the Eagles to see if they can do what Eternal Fire essentially did to them. Really unfortunate turnout to the previous round. But it's patience at the moment. Bit of crawling through outers. Can't really do too much without utility, though, in a position like this.
See if Wisla can start to get some actual damage done. That's been a big issue for them, you know. You never expect the eco rounds to win, but they've kind of been getting slapped in the eco rounds, and the problem with that is you're just not leaving the door open to give yourself a chance to economically reset the other team without concerted effort. And again, this is looking like a bit of a bash. All of the Eternal Fire players just aim dueling pistols and having no problems at all.
Yep, just out of Marcos. See what he can do with the Deagle, but light at the end of the tunnel for Wisla is another gun round in the next one. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like the one against those Deagles, but we'll see what they're going to come out with.
It's good CT half so far for Eternal Fire. Feels like they haven't had to work for as many of these rounds as Wisla have. Wisla really been grinding just for those 3 rounds. Every single one felt like a struggle, whereas Eternal Fire, they're getting, every time they're finding success, it feels like they're breaking Wisla's money. They're getting given multiple anti-ecos. They've won those opening rounds of the game as well. That always helps, of course. We've got the old smokes on outside. L smokes, as well as the front of Squeaky smoke coming out for Wisla. We're just charging through outside. Xantares creeping up behind the smoke. This is going to be an important duel.
It certainly is. He's going to tuck all the way to the back of the garage as well. Goofy taking a bunch of damage through the smoke. A lot rests on Xantares' shoulders for him to make sure at least the frag if he can find it. He's even going to manage to find 2. No utility in the back now for Wisla as well. It's going to be a lot of these dry duels that, to be honest with you, they might not be able to find.
Yep. Another round where Eternal Fire are just absolutely doming. very, very sharp on these A1Ss, which I feel like with the introduction of the A1S buff, it almost favors these really high skill-based teams. I remember, you know, watching some of the Asian games where we were watching Tyloo, where it's just like, you know, this Chinese team full of absolute star quality aimers just across the board, and it just allows you to be able to be a bit more aim dueling and multi-frag with ease on the CT side, whereas before you just couldn't take a lot of those angles, you couldn't take a lot of those duels. So Eternal Fire, I feel like another one of these teams with just so many mechanically skilled players, where it looks like these A1S duels are just so easy for them to convert. They're able to utilize individual skill and win those, you know, micro duels, which end up adding up to win the round.
Is this a case of just waiting for Wisla to get some M4s in their possession as well? We've seen what they've been able to do with...
I don't think that's going to work for them, though, you know? Like, I just don't see them as... Wisla is a team where they're going to win as a unit. They're not going to be winning by aim dueling the other team.
And we'll see what they can do with the utility that's busting out onto the upper top site right now. Calyx is burnt completely, but Antares to chime on through. And the pistols are starting to overwhelm Eternal Fire, cover through all of the smokes at the moment, but Immor push on through. It's awkward into the spray as he will meet the grave. And now Wisla is setting themselves up for this round.
It's just a beautiful execute. You love to see it. Retake flash in here for Woxic, and xCloud must multi-frag to actually find success here. They're going to layer the flashes, try to set him up for success, but unfortunately it's bonked him straight in the head. And maybe feeling a little hard done by there as Woxic looking to save. Still hitting every single damn shot on the way out, but just can't get the AWP out in time. And Wisla, they pick up a round and still only retain one gun. Dude, every time Wisla wins a round, like even that was an eco where, all right, look, the money's still going to look fantastic for them. I'm not going to complain about a round win like that. But every time they win a round, it's like you watch them finish the round. It's like, well, really wish they would have finished the round with more than they got out of it. But sometimes it'd be like that.
Yeah, it's going to be the beauty of actually winning on that eco now. They've got all the utility that they can work with in this one. A little bit of padding for Marcos and for Goofy in the next round to go in if the Lost Bonus does be preceded and they do drop this one. But the Outer's control is going to work for the most part. He smokes the Blossoming. Spiro to find Zentaris.
Opening pick for Wisla again. They had a good time of converting, and Woxic is just not missing right now. You get the crunch in towards upper. It's a good crossfire for the most part, but still a 2-on-2, which is very winnable for Wisla. The bomb's dropped on top of bloody hut, though.
Oh, that's going to be so difficult to get, and I wonder if xCloud's seen it. Yep, now he's crossed there on toward it. He knows. This should almost be unlosable for him.
It's a ridiculous situation to be, like, oh my god, Wisla.
They're killed on the bottom, and it just jumps up. It's just thrown there.
I know. It probably died in midair.
Well, an AWP for Marcos as well. If he lines it up towards heaven, it'd be a better place. xCloud just covering his behind, making sure he isn't getting flanked at the moment. But yeah, as I said, it's almost impossible. They're trying to jump for it at the moment. xCloud just needs to make sure he doesn't give the opportunity to them. I like the idea of the boost. Get a little bit creative, but...
Just give it the round, man. Oh, the fact that they lose that off the bomb on top hut, like, that is just... I feel for my Polish brothers out there. Seriously. Wisla. They're having a hard time on this T side, but hey, these guys, like I said, they got that tenacity. They're still going to keep grinding for this game. Money's a bit scuffed. They're going to eco around an AWP. Hero AWP for Marcos. See how they go with it. Still have a chance to kind of scrape into the end of this half, and the game's far from over.
Yeah, Hero AWP is a risky move. High risk, high reward. It can pay off with yeah, so need to get a little bit creative. Need to do something that maybe Eternal Fire I'm not going to be expecting. Is the rinse and repeat out as smokes for them as well. So a bit of bulliment to come through from Zentaris. Some more come through the Annex if required. And smokes start to fade. Zentaris is going to be spotting out. Nope, he's actually going to get off that line. So Wisla starting to get down toward the lower tons here.
Yeah, pretty much unchecked. Spiro, he could also activate once his lobby aggression does actually finish up, but he's on lobby roof, so might just have to be listening to those footsteps and choose his timing. Wisla down into lower. Wouldn't be surprised to see some of these boosts come out, but actually they're just going to go loud.
Yep, they're going to open the doors, break the glass potentially as well. Woxic's going to get smoked off from the AWP. Shot counts to 2 in this part, and then trying to see what he can do. Zentaris finds Goofy, the plant goes down, and now all the T's are going to be funneled in toward the obs room at the double doors as well. A 4-3 versus 5 hold is definitely going to be difficult. You know, relying upon Marcos essentially with the AWP. He's going to be able to find one, but now Molly smoked off the line. Should be unlosable again for Eternal Fire here.
Yeah, you would assume so. They're going to get on it.
Oh.
No hit on the bomb just yet, but they still got plenty of time to just keep tapping it. And I don't mind the save for Marcos heading it to the last round of the half. It's an AWP you can't replace. Good retake and great positioning across the board for Eternal Fire, especially Calix. He got that kill on the lurker up in towards uppers, which could have kind of dismantled that round. Good heads-up awareness for him to be able to pick Spiro there. So last round of the half here for Wisla. Try to get themselves 5 rounds. It'll help out a little bit, but it's very clear to me that Eternal Fire are having a great day at the office. Once again, the individuals firing on all cylinders. But look, I almost feel like I can't predict for them to just close out the game after that endpoint game the other day. So I won't call it over just yet.
Yeah, well, things are looking a little bit more convincing to the start here, but as you do mention, yeah, the way that series went, a tilter for sure. But it's full focus for them at the moment. This retained AWP for Marcos. I don't know if Woxic had actually been able to see that one. He'll manage to find the frag in the end of it. And now XCloud's putting out what's happening over at the ramp. Doesn't necessarily need to engage.
This is the Woxic you love to see. He's taken over the game. Very Mouse Sports-esque. And Wisla trying to consolidate this 3-on-5. Take a couple of risks. Trying to force an aim duel somewhere or other towards that ladder base. Spiro's still probing lobby. Will have a player to contest with, but unfortunately, the raw adjustment was a little bit scuffed. Crosshair placed on Hut, gets peeked on Squeaky. Now Wisla, no map control to their name, still waiting for more aggression. Kind of just waiting for Eternal Fire to maybe give them a round, but outside of that, I mean, with no one peeking, this one's probably done and dusted.
Yeah, they're going to have to be more reliant upon their CT side. The half does conclude in just a few short moments, 30 seconds. Wisla going to have to start to budge down towards B. He's still got that defense there from more in XCloud that, you know, they won't let Wisla just waltz in at the plant and try to do something in this round. They start to get a little bit more audible, but we're just waiting for essentially the round to end right now. A bit of a challenge out for sure. Nuke manages to find Zentaris. Immor on to PHR, and now it is 10 seconds to try and see what he can do. It's going to be nothing. Immor to close it. 11-4 is the halftime scoreline. We will see if there is going to be a bit of a recovery for Wisla after the break.
It's like the one of the most experienced player you can ever get in Turkey, basically. And this experience can come like you can share many things with the new guys. It's like you have been playing on the top level like for a couple of years, 4 years, 5 years, or whatever, and you have been getting like many situation actually, like losing games, winning games, eliminating in quarters, or having stuff is like pressures or whatever, like many things. So all of these, like when you are in the team, when like there's upcoming players, and you can tell them like in this situation you need to do like this, you have to do like this, you have to do like this. This experience basically I have now from the past teams.
Strong CT side team performance to come through for Eternal Fire on their opponent's map pick of Nuke. Now Wisla turn to the CT side to see if they can make the comeback that, well, in all honesty, we've seen from Eternal Fire's opponents before. Pilski joins me here for the first opening map on the A stream. And Pilski, Wisla, will they have it in them?
I think so, but it's not going to be easy for them. And fortunately, the road is kind of fraught with these Eternal Fire lads who can just have these pop-off rounds time and time again. Taking it quite slow. Duels through outside initially. Marcos ready with a flash for Goofy. Two men set up in towards the ramp to try to shut down this push.
That's going to be the first duel in Outers, however. And Spiro doesn't want to take the duel against, but he will win it quite cleanly on towards Xantaras. The attempt onto Woxic as well will be a re-challenge. Meanwhile, Eternal Fire starting to gain a bit of control at the ramp, and Marcos is going to be forced back to the ladder base.
Well, lowest site being taken now by Eternal Fire. Man disadvantage. They haven't cleaned out windows or decon, and that can make this plant quite troublesome, but Goofy, caught in between a rock and a hard place, wanted to play bomb denial and loses his head for it.
And there's no kits at the moment for Wisla. The duelies are going to do nothing for PHR, and now this is where Eternal Fire can just take a couple of duels if they want, because the CTs have to come and encroach on toward their positions. A couple from Omega Tunnels at the moment, and the door not really providing too much cover as the shots are coming out. Woxic with a cheeky little lurk. Potentially be finding Spiro from behind the decon door. Coming on through now, the drop in towards Dark, and X-Cloud says no to Marcos, to Spiro, and the pistol goes the T's way.
Yeah, nicely done. That's probably going to put Wisla in the dirt, being so far behind after the initial half, 11-4. But there was a game yesterday, which was the first game on Mirage, where Eternal Fire were up 14-4 against Endpoint. Look, I don't think that's going to happen again, but I think Wisla, they're looking a little flat across the board. They're just not fighting as solidly as on an individual level. Every single player on Eternal Fire is just a little bit sharper right now. Force Buy comes in for the CT side, and they've lost 2 picks in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, some damage delivered though in turn. Woxic and X-Cloud taking quite low. Potentially, we're still going to be able to find some more damage. Goofy's good for 1, but immediately shut down. And now it's Xantaras nearly winning the duel against Jedka. It certainly does make things look very plausible again for Eternal Fire to completely close out this half.
Yeah, just not a close game at all, unfortunately. Wisla looking very flat today. Order 11-4, and I believe that was a 4-0 lead for RPG, if I'm not mistaken. So Order with 11 rounds in a row. I'm sure there's still a few Aussies awake. It's only midnight. And earlier in other parts of Australia. So, you know, you can all rest easy for the time being. Not so much for the Polish lads, though. This is a very sad scoreline to behold. Anti-Eco coming in here for Eternal Fire.
Well, it's just a slow start. Woxic getting a little control in Outers to overlook with the scout. Pistols right to the upper site right now for Wisla. Utility could even push them at bay. Flash in. See the smoke towards Annex potentially. Only towards CT Vent 2. Just making sure they're dotting their I's, crossing their T's here. Eternal Fire.
Yep. Looking to just complete this anti-eco without too many hitches. Good opener. Xantaras copped a dink for it and probably will die, but... Oh, that is very messy spray in there from X-Cloud, but Emor's still got it locked down.
Yeah, lines up for 2. Spiro, meanwhile, getting a nasty headshot on towards Calix, and this is some great damage coming through for the eco of Wisla. Still, I'd like to see them retrieve a couple of these guns potentially, specifically on Marco, certainly with that USP.
Yeah, well, Spiro's got a nice timing here. Has heard the footsteps away from Emor towards outside. This is a nice off angle to utilize a USP, especially if those players come down secret. 25 seconds to go. It's probably annexed to uppers. Spiro's in hut as well. Both of these CTs are actually very well positioned no matter what occurs here.
Yeah, well, Eternal Fire need to get a bit of a wriggle on. It's a Galil for Spiro, and this can just absolutely...
2 bullets.
Yeah, he's going to have to rely on the sidearm, and the shot says enough. There's no time for the bomb plant to go down now.
Yep, that is not what you wanted if you're Eternal Fire. They've definitely slipped up on a snag there. Anti-Eco, some very messy sprays, which is uncharacteristic for them. Wisla pick up the round, and they go into their first gun round. Marcos gets that AWP. Look, if there was ever a chance for Wisla to start to get rolling, this would be it. Wouldn't even mind seeing a pause and just try to collect themselves, hype themselves up for what will be a difficult game no matter what, but going to continue straight into it.
That's the second anti-eco, almost full eco from Wisla that they've been able to find. It's the gun rounds that we need to really see them start to collect upon. You talk about the individual performances. Now is the time for those set individuals to step up.
Well, all of the Turks going straight in towards upper, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. 1-for-1 trade to open things up, but PHR unchecked drops the bomb.
Yeah, and I think it's dropped down the vent there as well, so Spiro's going to have the lockdown of that one. Meanwhile, Marcos good for one. The trade does see Wisla still with the player advantage. The call's been made, but Woxic, he's slipped the net. He's gone through the ramp room.
Just such messy rounds. Individual timings have been absolutely everything so far this game, and for the most part, Eternal Fire's been getting the better of them. Wisla keeping an eye on that bomb, but Spiro knows that there is a timing where he could potentially be hunted and found, so he's just trying to keep an eye on these different angles.
Yeah, a lot of it is going to come down to what Woxic can do. If he can find Spiro toward the vents or not, he's going to see the body, take the damage, but the fight is not won just yet anymore. Can drop down the vent, try to find it. Woxic gets Spiro, and now it's on to PHR, who has just jumped down from the top of the site as well. So he's going to be going in for the retake. Imo is quite low. That's a one-on-one duel that he could potentially find, try to deny it. Woxic's looking the wrong way, and now he set himself up for the potential round. The sidearm has been pulled out. It gets the damage. It gets the job done. The defuse will come through.
Yeah, PHR, you can see on the player cams, he was kicking himself for not stopping that player going down the vent, and unfortunately, that's how Spiro dies. But Eternal Fire, I don't know whether that was miscomm. But, you know, PHR was stomping down Decon. It 100% would have been heard by Emo at the very least, if not Woxic as well. But sometimes chaotic situations, especially if you're a team that's a bit on the louder side, you can miss some of those key footsteps. In a boot camp scenario, you don't have the perfect sound that you used to. And that's a bit of another opportunity going by the wayside. There's been quite a few rounds in this game where Eternal Fire probably should have disposed them.
100%. The ecos that they've dropped, there was a round where they just couldn't quite navigate the plant as well as that eco too.
They're just such an interesting team, because they just have rounds where they just dumpster the other team and it just doesn't even look close and they win with ease. And then they have so many rounds in a game where they're just kind of messing up a little bit.
And then we get the comical ones as well, where the bomb somehow manages to find its way on top hut.
Yeah, well, that happened to Wisla. Feels like not a great day to be a Wisla boy, but they're still giving it a crack.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. They do have the better weaponry in this round. Marcos, a lot of money potential here with the MP9. Eternal Fire starting to creep in outers. It's all these dry jewels, of course. They've got no utility to work around.
Yep, which is where you see the fundamental difference between these two types of teams. Wisla probably would have gone for a whole bunch of util and tried to up sec or something like that in a round like this. Marcos, nice opener. Good taps from Goofy as well. Looks like it's going well. They haven't dealt with Calyx yet.
Yeah, well, 30 seconds to go here. 2-player deficit for Eternal Fire. As Wisla are going to start to look to vacate the A site. Maybe a pathway that Eternal Fire could get in, but no, Jenka's already rotated to the top silo. Taras will find him in the air, but maybe it is just to try and save. He's not going to be allowed to.
Yeah, you can see Eternal Fire. A lot of the time, they're really probing for overpeaks. They're really probing for Wisla to give them opportunities. But Wisla, very disciplined, not giving away those additional picks a lot of the time. And so it feels like a lot of these rounds on the T side so far, the clock is really running down because Eternal Fire are taking a lot of time just prodding and probing, holding angles, waiting for a CT that they can click on. So good stuff from Wisla. But their money is still fragile here, so they definitely need this round. This could be a big swing round where Eternal Fire could probably just wrap the game up.
Yeah, a lot of utility surrounding the A side at the moment, but no damage delivered over towards Wisla. I think that single smoke that Eternal Fire can still look to throw in, so a lot is going to just rely upon what they're going to look to play with into the upper site right now. Grouped outside the hut.
Molly onto the site. It is a full execute for Eternal Fire. They've already found that opener as well. PHR flashed off in towards CT Vent. He's pinned in a corner. Not much he can do.
Yeah, the player advantage for Eternal Fire. Starting to get the plant down. Spiro not going to be shooting through the smoke as to deny that. And potentially wait it out. You got a couple of teammates there with some util that they can throw in. Goofy, a little late lurk to come through the room as well. Bobby takes Flower to find Spiro. Goofy revealing himself as well. And now the time is starting to be a factor. The kits are available, but the duels are not being won. Eternal Fire will find 14.
Yep, money's broke for Wisla. Very bad round for it. Two schools of thought, play for OT or try to make a buy work. And they will try to make the buy work because at least they have Marcos who can get his hands on an A1S. It's a bit of a Hail Mary, but we'll see if it works out for him. Pretty limited util. So Wisla going to kind of be pigeonholed into the kind of rounds where at some point they probably have to pressure or crunch lobby, I'd imagine. They don't have the util or the weaponry to play a more drawn out round here.
Oh, a gap in the smoke. Will the toes be spotted out? It doesn't look like it. Both teams returning fire. It's Goofy to win that duel.
Yeah, you can see the look on his face. He knew that was a bit BS, but he'll take it. Love the off angle from Marcos. The only rifle. Big risk versus reward. No, Calix, his eyes are elsewhere. He just got shot at.
Yeah, doesn't realize where it's come from. The beauty of the A1S sometimes.
Yeah. Well, round really slowing down now. Seeing the other Eternal Fire players trying to give some smoke coverage to Calix so he can try to cross into Secret, perhaps. Need to see if they'll go with him. Xantara's on the other side of the map. It's looking like he's just holding that lobby and ramp room control. And he's going to start probing ramp now.
Finally, Marcos will be able to find Calix.
Love that angle.
Boost up, it's right in. Got the trays there for Spiro. Another shot to come out of this scout. That's damage done. Relying teammates potentially to close it out from here as well.
That's really good discipline from Spiro, not re-peeking that. Knows he's up 4-on-2 and he's got one of them low.
And Molly's in. PHR in front of it. He's just going to be waiting for his team. They're quite vulnerable when they do go for the plan. He's even going to be able to deny it. Going on through. There's one dig. Oxic now. And maybe tasked to try and save the AK if it can be utilized in the next round. They could potentially force in for it. A couple players above 4K, but maybe fancy the pistols instead.
It's big from Wisla. Massive round to win. They cut a corner, but they needed to. They were quite far behind right from the get-go. It's for Eternal Fire. Their money is pretty cooked. Probably the singular eco here. Pipe some digs at least. Try to get some damage done. Or even just win the round, because we all saw that first half.
Yeah. Well, they're going a little bit with it. Scout there for Woxic to see what damage can be done. A little boost in outers as the HE grenades not going to be finding any damage.
Well, it's a bit of a standoff at outers. It's probably going to be the way it is for most of this round. At least that's what I've seen from Eternal Fire's T side. It just feels very pick-based, you know? They're just walking around. They're looking to try to win duels. And if they're not given those duels, or they don't win the duels, then they're having a pretty tough time, actually, in the mid to late round. It almost feels like every round where Eternal Fire doesn't get a pick, they generally lose. And I mean, it seems like an obvious thing to say, but there are so many teams in present-day Counter-Strike where even if they just, in the early to mid-round, set themselves up with X map control, or they run their default with an objective and they fulfill that objective, they have their protocols and they have their go-tos to be able to close that round out, even in a 5-on-5. But for Eternal Fire, it just hasn't felt like if they're in a 5-on-5 situation, if the early round hasn't yielded them any actual kills, it just doesn't feel like they could get the round done.
Well, we're going to see if they can reenact what they were doing on the CT side, completely playing together as a unit. Want to finish it off from here, find that opening pick, convert it from there. Got the wall of smokes in outers. to go down. They'll be setting up at the moment.
Very low util. 1 minute 25, and we've only got, what, 6 nades across the whole team? 4 flashes. Full investment in that wall of smoke. Xantares, that's a beautiful pick to be getting. Not a lot of util for Eternal Fire, and I was just talking about how they really need these picks.
Yeah, well, they find the first one. It's immediately retaliated by PHR. It's going to be the fallback for Eternal Fire.
Yeah,
Called the audible.
What's this late round looking like, though? They're so split up. They've got lowers control, but they've got to get through outers without any coverage.
And it's going to be rough for them. A Hail Mary flash straight to the sky. Goofy be dodging that one. Yeah.
With 45 seconds?
How do you even navigate back down toward the lower site to assist your team, though, from here? You've got to get through towards ramp. There's nothing there from Wisla.
There's no movement from Xantares or Calyx either, so I'm assuming this is still lower. They're not going to zoom up vent and go into upper late. Who's in ramp room right now? Oh, forget about it. They might not even make it in ramp room. That's a nice pick from Emor, though. 20 seconds on the clock. They just leave it so late every time. They've got no vent control either.
Yeah, it's going to be real tight to get that plant on down. The CTs, if they just manage to open decon door, even double door if they beat Calyx in this duel, potentially could deny the plant, but it's Xantares and Calyx to at least safeguard that, and they will lock it down.
They're giving me a bloody heart attack, but look, that was a much more controlled round there for Eternal Fire. There were no, like, speed bumps. But when you're running the clock down like that, like, all it takes is that one thing to go wrong. And there was definitely indecision. Like, they went to outside and then they went back to lobby. It didn't really look like they knew exactly how they wanted to close that round out. And Spiro, I mean, he had a great opportunity to just dismantle that, but doesn't find the pick. Done one better this time, though. Opening frag there for Wisla.
Yeah, but don't drop it from here. We'll at least manage to navigate back toward outers. That's the line on towards Woxic's location, but Wisla don't need to engage in these duels at the moment. They don't have too much utility. They've even got that MP9 on Jedka. So it does still rest on what they can do. Just locking down the lines, not letting Eternal Fire get across in the first place.
Yep, wall of smoke's employed to make that cross to secret. Oh, spotted though. At least Spiro has the info that they're down there. That will prompt a rotate in from Goofy. Not a whole lot of util here for the CT side. A whole lot more for Eternal Fire, which will definitely help them get that lowers plant off. But with the 2 players in lobby, it's a similar situation in a less favorable scenario to that last round.
Well, still the bomb outside lobby, so not sold on the fact that it is going to be the B hit at the moment. 30 seconds to get that plant down.
I mean, it's almost certainly going to be up. Just about when that happens.
It's going to be quite late. PHR still on the line. Calyx is going to shimmy up the vent. You got Jedka here. MP9 can be put to good use next to the hut. 20 seconds again. Actually going to go down toward the lower B site. This is a very strange one again. The defense from Goofy, from Marcos. It should be around here for them. 10 seconds. Plant not even in the site just yet, or bomb rather. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be the round there. All the frags found by the CTs.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely could have happened in the round before that one as well. They're just really running the clock down. It looks like they're quite indecisive on this T side. And again, I was talking about it before where it's like, you're waiting for Wisla to feed you a pick. You're waiting for Wisla to aggress. They don't do it. They're not the kind of team to do it. They're sitting in a 5-on-4. They are sitting there on the site in a 2-man crossfire, and they are not budging. Mans was just standing next to the hut with an MP9 for like a minute.
Yeah, well, Xantares quick over toward the annex. The drop on down, but can't fit through the flames at the moment. PHR good for the opener, but now it's Xantares chiming into the equation. And for Woxic and xCloud, a lot to do here. They're starting to make it look okay, but the immediate change of pace for Eternal Fire from all these slow rounds into a quick one. They're in the site. They still haven't planted.
Yeah, they need to secure it though. That's a beautiful timing for Goofy. Drops the bomb. They should know xCloud's over here as well. They've got utility to flush him out as well. Molotovs and a flash.
Yeah, well, it's going to come down to the corner for xCloud. Gets on the right line, and that's going to be Spiro to take him out. So Wisla, they're still in toward this one. Taking 2 guns over.
Yeah, there's so many teams in this tournament here at the EPL conference stage that they are grinders. Like, they're not just going to let you win the game. They're not just going to make those mistakes and feed you to pick. Like, CS is played, even, you know, you're talking about ESEA Premier teams in Europe and some of the teams that come from the minor regions. Like, they play very tactically. They play very disciplined. So it's beautiful to see Wisla putting a comeback together, even though they had the flattest start. They had the worst start to a game possible. We had literally everyone on the T side that had they were like 5 to 15 or something in the opening half. But they are still fighting for this game, and they're looking more and more convincing as time goes on.
Yeah, it's going to be the force-up for, well, not force-up, it's going to be the half buy-in for Eternal Fire. They can make something work, possibly with the pistols, but when you're trying to just bully your way in toward the site and you've got the sprays to come through from the CTs, it does make it quite difficult. Start to try and get down the vent. Jedka is there to cut you off from doing that, and it's just an immediate shutdown. Head on a swivel for Goofy, as X-Cloud's good for one, but that's it.
Yeah, PHR is a bit lost there. Looks silly from, you know, the spectator POV, but obviously, when you're in that situation, the uppers rush comes in. You're expecting someone to go through hard. Was a full squeaky door approach, though. All right, 3 more chances here for Eternal Fire to close this one out. There you have full loss bonus, so bomb plants permitting, they should be able to put some more buys together. 2 head armorless players in X-Flat and Woxic, though, and we do see a few M4s in there. Woxic, he's been the goods so far this game. Bit quiet the last couple of rounds, but it's good to see him put the AWP back to use. Jedka's in under the silo, though. Gonna put a bit of a spanner in the works for Eternal Fire.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of players come out from that position. Multi-frags gathered, but for now, only the one, as Woxic will shut that down. The player advantage for Eternal Fire. Back to the lobby, and Goofy, he's pushing in towards the hut. He wins the duel against Antares, but immediately, 4 frags going left, right, and center.
Yeah, Woxic's on for the ace right now. He's found himself a 3K. No map control to speak of at all for Eternal Fire. X-Cloud, he almost seemed like he was aware of it. No Pinocchio this time. I know that that's Mac's favorite. Walk out a squeaky door. But they haven't taken full lobby control. It might lure them into a false sense of security here. They're going to be looking for Goofy, though, and when they don't see him on the site, they're surely going to deduce that the man's in hut.
Oh, he's actually getting out of that and going around through the squeaky door. Woxic's got the bomb next to this vent, so again, they're not still completely sold on it. You talk about going for the ace. There's the 4th. Now it's down to Spiro and AWP. It bodes well for Woxic to be able to find it. It's going to be down to the timing, and he does indeed end it with the ace for the 16th round on the board.